If I had a nickel for every good football anime released last year, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's strange that it happened twice. Anyway, let's talk about Aoashi. Look, I promise you, this isn't just a football anime review channel, but after my previous review for Blue Lock, I thought I'd have to give you my opinion on what I consider a more grounded football anime. Aoashi follows the story of Aoi Ashito, a middle school football player who's playing his last game for his rural middle school football side. Now it's clear that Aoi is the star striker of the team and is the best player on the pitch by a mile. Realizing this, his opponents use his weakness, which is his temper, against him and goad him into getting sent off. This causes his team to lose the game. Fortunately for Aoi, in the stands is Fukuda Tatsuya, the manager for the youth side of J-League team Tokyo City Esperion FC. Fukuda meets with Aoi after the match, shows him some tricks and tips and gives him some advice, and is then blown away by Aoi's ability to remember the positions of all the players on the pitch during the game. Seeing this as the final piece to his youth side jigsaw puzzle, Fukuda invites Aoi for Esperion Junior Youth tryouts. Naturally, Aoi gets through the tryouts, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler because it's on the posters and in the trailer, but it is when he joins up with the junior youth side that he realizes just how far he is behind in terms of physical ability, football ability, and football knowledge. Now, football is quite a simple game on paper. 2 teams try to kick the ball into the other's goal, and whoever scores the most goals wins the game. But when you start factoring in things like formations, tactics, players' movement, then it starts to become a bit more complex. And this is why I like Aoashi a bit more than Blue Lock, and why I say it's more realistic than Blue Lock, because Aoi lacks what we consider the fundamentals or basic skills required to play at this level, let alone succeed. So we as the viewer get to see Aoi develop these skills throughout the series, and we learn such things as scanning, movement, playing in a triangle, and that's why I would recommend this show to anyone who is new to football or interested in learning about the tactical side of football, because we get to follow Aoi as he develops these skills. Also, Aoi's ability, which is to be aware of the positions of all the players on the pitch during the game, is a little bit outrageous, but it's something that professional players at the very highest level have, such as Luka Modric and Kevin De Bruyne, who seem to know where their teammates are positioned at all times. Also, one other thing that makes it more grounded than Blue Lock is it really shows the struggle of becoming a professional footballer. Now, when Fukuda gives him the opportunity for the tryouts, it opens a path for Aoi to become a pro, but it is the only path that he feels he can go on, because he's not really smart, he's not really good at school, he's not really good at much else besides football. So he sees becoming a professional as the only way that he will be able to help his family who are not doing so well financially. And there are also other players who are aiming to go pro, and there is this interesting dynamic between the players that came through the tryouts with Aoi and the players that came through the youth setup itself, and where they have to learn to work together. Now, these players who came up through the youth setup, they had to lose their teammates because those teammates didn't make the cut, and those teammates are now being replaced by these tryouts players who are not familiar with the systems that the side practices. But what really made me sit up and take notice is the twist that happens halfway through the season. And I don't really want to spoil it, so for those who are more familiar with football, Aoi is forced to become basically the next Trent Alexander-Arnold, and this affects his development in the game. As for the animation itself, I would say the animation is good. It does not have the highs that Blue Lock has, but it also definitely doesn't have the lows. I would say the animation is quite consistent. And all 24 episodes are already out, so if you want to binge, I would say the pacing for this is really good. It's not as breakneck or not as fast as Blue Lock, but it is easy to binge and easy to sit through. All in all, I think Aoashi is one of the best football anime out there, mostly because I'm a sucker for more grounded and realistic football anime, which we don't really have much of out there. So while it lacks the excitement and hype for Blue Lock, it is definitely for those who are more interested in the technical and tactical aspects of football. I give Aoashi an 8 out of 10. Anyways, have you seen Aoashi? If you did, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.